Well, welcome to the latest Llandough Live. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope this is working. So, if this hasn't gone live, please do bear with me. As I've explained previously when I've done these events, they are obviously liable to be subject to technical fault and such forth. But thanks so much for tuning in, and hopefully, just like last time, this will work. And I'd like to begin actually, before we get started with questions, etc., just to say a big thank you to everyone who took part in the last Llandough Live last week, which went far better than I ever could have imagined, if I'm being honest with you. That's both people who sent in questions, people who watched it live, people who watched it back afterwards, and especially, I will say this, everyone who sent in their feedback as well, because it's been really helpful to know what went well, also to know where perhaps some improvements could be made, and hopefully this event will be better still. So thank you so much to everyone who tuned in last time. The other thing I will say as well, obviously, happy Easter. This is Easter weekend, and we're just about to get started on that now. So I get that with the weather nice outside as well, a lot of you will be outside in your gardens this evening. So if you're not watching this live, please don't worry. As I said, I am not expecting to have quite as good an audience as we had for the live last week, but I'm going to do it anyway, as I said. So I have got some pre-sent in questions, and I've also got a few announcements to make as well. So I will make those as we go through. So if we make a start then with the questions, as I said, I'd have had some sent in, and the first one that came in was from Pam Gay, or I should say actually Community Councillor Pam Gay. Pam sits on Llandough Community Council and does a lot of excellent work for our community. And I know a lot of the dog walkers in the community know Pam as well from when she takes Patch out around the village and up to the playing fields, etc. But Pam's question is this, and it's a very good question actually, Pam. It's what are the waste collection arrangements over Easter? And a couple of you have got in touch with me about that actually, and some of you might have seen that after Pam sent that question in, I did actually put an update out on my Facebook page. So some of you will know the answer to this already, but the answer is quite simple, and that's that there are no changes this year. Obviously, with the disruption that COVID-19 has caused, the council have decided to continue with waste collections as normal, including on the bank holidays of Good Friday and Easter Monday. And the knock-on effect of that is that next Tuesday, which I think is the 14th, yes, the 14th, our collections in Llandough will be going ahead as usual. So no changes there. And Tuesday, obviously, will be mixed recycling collections, food waste collections, and it's Black Bag Collection Day as well. So those of you who may not be aware of this, the council are asking people, if possible, to stick to the 2-bag limit on black bags, but during this crisis, if absolutely necessary, you can go up to 4 bags. So that is the policy on that. And garden waste collections, actually, a lot of you have got in touch with that about that as well. Those collections are starting back in the Vale next week, but we're on the second week of that cycle. So the next garden waste collection in Llandough will be on Tuesday, the 21st of April. That's if we stick with that scheduling anyway. If not, I will let you know on that. So that I will keep you updated on that one. And just a little note actually with regard to garden waste, there have been a few reports this week of residents having bonfires in their gardens. Now, I'm saying this with the best interests at heart, and this is not in any way trying to pick anyone out. So please don't think that that's the case at all. If you have thought about having a bonfire, please don't. At the present time, at least, we have South Wales Fire and Rescue have issued guidance on this. Obviously, bonfires do give off fumes and other things, and those who may be suffering with COVID-19 or other underlying health conditions, that can have effects for them. So please think of others. And at this time, the advice and guidance from the fire service is not to have bonfires in your garden. So if you do have garden waste that needs disposing of, please do keep hold of it, because come the 21st of of April, there will be a collection, as we usually have. That service is resuming now. So that's Pam's question answered. So thanks for that. Thanks for that, Pam. And on to the next question that I've had sent in. This one has come in from Christine. So thanks for sending this in, Christine. Christine's question is this. It's: Hi, George. I'm sorry to bother you with this issue, but someone has dumped a shopping trolley outside St. Doctewey's Church. We passed it as we went on our daily walk. Normally, I would contact the council myself rather than bother you, but I thought they might be busy at this time. Well, first of all, Christine, thanks for sending the question in, and please don't worry about getting in touch with me about this or indeed any other issue, either now during this crisis or indeed at any time. I'm here as your counsellor to take these issues forward for you. That's what I'm here for. That's the job. That's what I signed up for, and I enjoy doing it, if I'm being honest with you. So don't worry about getting in touch with me about anything. Most issues I can help with. If for whatever reason I can't, I will obviously tell you and also try and put you in touch with someone who can. So don't worry about that. To answer your question on that one, Christine, I have raised this with the council's environment team. They have come back to me on that one as well, and they've said they will action this as soon as possible. So I don't know if anyone has been out in the last couple of hours. That may have been removed or not been removed by now, but if it hasn't been removed, it is going to be. So that one is in hand, Christine, and action is being taken to deal with it. So if I move on to some of the other announcements that I did have to make. Obviously, the one was in relation to garden waste that I sort of answered that one really as part of my answer to Pam's question. But as I said once again, I'll repeat that for anyone who may be tuning in now. Those collections are resuming in the Vale on Monday, the 13th. But because we're on the second week of the waste collection cycle in Llandough, that means that our next collection for garden waste will be on Tuesday, the 21st of April. So that's where we are with that one. Now, some other updates to bring you. Waste bins. A lot of you have got in touch with me over the past week, 10 days or so, in regard to the waste bins, both on Coganpill Road and in the woodland area, and also on the playing fields at Lewis Road. Now, the update on this, obviously, or the concern that was raised, I should say, was that those bins were overflowing, and so could we please have them emptied? Now, I reported all of those into the waste management team. They did send a team out very promptly on this one, so they did send them out to empty the bins at the playing fields, and also one or two of them were emptied down at Coganpill, but I know that some of them were missed out. So for those, I have reported those back in, and the council have said they will arrange for those to be emptied ASAP. I am aware that this issue has caused a bit of debate within the community. Some people saying perhaps that shouldn't be a priority right now to empty these bins. I get that. However, I have taken these forward, so please do report them. The council are taking this seriously. Obviously, environmental concerns are important, and bins do need to be emptied. So if you do see a bin that hasn't been emptied, please do report it. But I would just make one point on this one, actually, and I think it's a fair point. A couple of residents have got in touch with me over the past couple of days, saying they've seen people, or at least they suspect people, have been using those the waste bins within the community to dump household waste. Now, my plea to anyone watching this would be, if you have either done that in the past or have thought about doing that, please don't. These bins are there for pedestrians to use, especially for dog walkers, because we do want to make sure that dog walkers clean up after their pets. But please don't don't be tempted into using these bins to dump household waste, because it's not helpful for our community. It doesn't make it a pleasant thing to do. One of the, in particular, flashpoints that was, or hotspots that was raised with me on this, was the bin outside the primary school on Doctory Road. So please don't do that. It is important that we respect each other and respect our community. You are allowed up to 4 black bags now, which is obviously only if absolutely necessary. That has been the advice from the council, but that is an allowance that hasn't been made previously. So please do make use of that, rather than going round putting your household waste in those waste bins in the community. If you see a bin that's overflowing, as I've said, do get in touch with me, because I will raise that with the council and ask them to make sure those are emptied. But that's the best way of dealing with this. Any further concerns in relation to this, as always, please do get in touch. You can either message me on here. Always like to be contacted on Facebook. It's instant, it's quick, it's easy. Or you can drop me an email. My email address, george.carroll@valeconservatives.org.uk, or give me a ring. My number, 07889 384059. And if we go back to some of the questions that have been sent in for me, I had one that came through, I think it was yesterday, or may have been the day before. Obviously, at these times, the days do tend to fall into one somewhat. So that's, but whatever day it was, it came in, and I will answer it. And it came in from Tony. Now, Tony's question is this. Tony says, I know this isn't the best time to mention this, but there is a massive pothole on Leckwith Road, which could cause a serious accident for cyclists or motorcyclists. It's situated on the left-hand side going out of Llandough, just past the old rectory. It's a road gully, and the tarmac has collapsed on the road side of it. Well, thank you so much for your question, Tony. Nothing wrong with raising a concern like that, or indeed any other concern at this time. I get that the council are under pressure and that some services have had to be reduced and reprioritised. I think just about everyone is reasonable enough to accept that, but that doesn't mean to say that you can't raise these. And I have passed that inquiry onto the council, and you'll be pleased to know, actually, they are doing their best to run a road repair service as close to normal as possible. They have caveated this somewhat by saying if the government's advice changes or further lockdown measures are required, that may have to change in turn. But for the moment, at least, Tony, that one, the road repairs are being carried out as close to normal as possible. And in regard to that specific pothole that you've mentioned on Leckwith Road, the council have said they will send a team out, or an individual out, possibly to inspect that and take any action that is necessary. So I will keep on top of that one. Any other potholes people see throughout the village, as usual, drop me an email, drop me a message on here, or give me a call, and I will feed those into the Highways Department and ask for the relevant and necessary action to be taken. Now, we've had a live question come in from Gerard Norman. So good evening, Gerard. Good to know that someone's watching on this nice Thursday evening. And Gerard's question is this. Hi, George. Speeding through the village has always been a concern of mine, walking the children back and forth to different classes. I do feel that it is a lot worse at the moment. As the traffic is lighter, most motorists seem to drive down towards the crossing well in excess of 30 miles an hour, never mind 20. Are the speeding vans still operational? Can we ask them to visit the village? Thank you for that, Gerard. I actually had a constituent get in touch with me about this by email a couple of days ago, and I reported that one into the police. I haven't had a response back on that, but that issue has been reported already, Gerard. One thing I would say on the speeding, actually, and I think it's important that we clarify this. The 20-mile-an-hour speed limits were actually a temporary measure, an experimental order that has now expired. I am pushing the council to make these permanent and have had various and sometimes lengthy discussions with the Highways Department on this. They haven't yet made a decision regarding 20-mile-an-hour zones in Llandough. One agreement they did come to with me was that while that decision process is being taken, the 20-mile-an-hour zones are being left up. The signs are being left up. The reason for that, and I think it is perfectly sensible, even though it's not legally enforceable until that decision is taken. The one benefit of it is it does act as a deterrent. People see the 20 sign and will instinctively slow down. And my other point on this as well, and it's one I've made time and time again before, it's better to have people driving at 30 in a 20 than it is to have people driving 40 in a 30. So that's the position. They won't be able to enforce 20-mile-an-hour speed limits at this time because that order has expired. Nonetheless, I have asked the police to take whatever enforcement action they can on that. I will put the question in again about the speed camera van, and also I will ask them to do a survey as well to see the average speed of all vehicles travelling along Penlan Road, and indeed on the estate as well, because the estate, Llandough Hill, lots of areas within the village do have cars travelling too fast along them. We've got to make sure that the roads are safe both for other motorists and also for pedestrians, especially children, the disabled, and the elderly. So that is important, and I will continue to raise that issue. Gerard. Now, in terms of other highways related issues, please do get in touch with me about that as usual. As I said, there may be some disruption to how services are delivered in comparison with usual. That's perfectly understandable in the current time, but that's not to say that we shouldn't raise these issues and concerns, and I hope that answers your question, Gerard. If I move back then to some of the other announcements I had to make, because there were quite a few actually, so it's good that I've got the chance to do this. I've had a lot of emails in from residents in regard to shielding letters. These were the letters that the Welsh Government are sending out to people who have certain underlying health conditions that are deemed to make them particularly vulnerable to the effects of COVID-19. And so those residents who have received these letters have been advised to self-isolate for a 12-week period to protect themselves from the virus. Now, residents' concerns have come in. A lot of them have been very have been much along the same lines, actually. I've got a particular condition, but I haven't had one of these letters. Now, why is that? There could be a variety of reasons for that one, if truth be told. Some people haven't had these letters in, mainly because of a delay. Obviously, the logistics of getting all of these letters out does take some time. There's a lot of admin and other work involved in doing that. So that could be the reason. Secondly, the list of those patients who are deemed vulnerable and who have been sent these letters, the criteria are slightly different from those that have been put out online more generally as those groups who are particularly at risk. So that's a reason for that one as well. What I will say to people on this, if you've got any concern whatsoever, get in touch with me and I will either advise to the best I can from my own knowledge, or if not, I will find out for you, because I have had some discussions with the health board on this in recent days. The health board haven't actually had any input into the sending out of these letters. They have been done centrally by the Welsh Government, but the health board can help in a number of ways, mainly because GP surgeries have been sent a list of all the patients who were sent these shielding letters, so they can cross-reference against that. And another thing the health board can do as well, and your GP surgery can do, is that if you haven't had one of these letters, but you need proof of an underlying health condition, for example, to get priority delivery from a supermarket, because I know that those services are under particular pressure, your GP can provide evidence for that. So my advice would be, at the first port of call, please try your GP surgery. If you're having any difficulties getting through, because they are taking a large number of calls at present, get in touch with me, and I will get in touch in turn with my contact in the health board and get them to take that forward for you. So any concerns with regard to shielding letters, do let me know, and I will point you in the right direction on that. And in relation to that, it's actually an answer I've got to one of the questions that came in the last Llandough Live, which was in relation to the Welsh Government food parcels. Now, these are being provided by the Vale of Glamorgan Council to those on the shielded patients list who haven't been able to get help elsewhere. So it is a sort of last resort service. I know a lot of people who have been placed on these lists have had help from either friends, family, or neighbours, and that's fantastic to see. But one thing I would say, if you are on the shielded patients list and you don't have any support either in the community or from a friend or a relative, the council have this week launched a crisis support hotline. Now, what that essentially is, it's a line that I think operates from 9 until 5 in the evening, although please do check on that, because I may have got those times slightly wrong. But it's basically for anyone who is in the most vulnerable category and is unable to get help or support elsewhere, please call them, because they are there to help. I've got their number written down somewhere, actually, so I'll try and find that. Fortunately, it was on the piece of paper right on the top of my pile, so that perhaps looks rather slicker than I perhaps expected. But that number is 01446 729 529. That number again, 01446 729 529, and please only use this number if you are in that most vulnerable category, and also if it is a real emergency, because they will be handling a large volume of calls, and it's important that that we make sure that this service is available to the people who most need it. So don't use that number unless it's necessary. And please, if you're not a vulnerable person, please contact either me or the council through the other means that are available to ensure that those who most need this can have it. And I've had a question come in now from Sarah Jane Khan. Evening, Sarah. Thanks so much for joining me. Sarah's question is this: is there a way of contacting the council at the moment regarding council tax? I've sent an email, but they're currently taking over a week to reply to each one, which makes something relatively simple go on forever. Well, first of all, Sarah, I'm sorry to hear that. I do have a lot of sympathy with the council at this time. Most of you will know I am usually one for holding their feet to the fire and taking things forward. They are under pressure, so I am cutting them more slack than I usually would, and I think it's right and proper to do that. But what I would say on that one, Sarah, please email me if you've had an issue that needs resolving and hasn't been resolved yet. I will get in touch with the head of finance. She's in charge of that department, and ask them to deal with this ASAP. So that concern in particular, or that specific concern, email me, and I will take that forward on your behalf. More generally, anyone who has got a council tax issue, the standard hotline or email address, they're not taking calls on this at the moment, actually, but you need to email council tax, all lowercase, all one word, at valeofglamorgan.gov.uk. That's council tax at valeofglamorgan.gov.uk. Send that message into them, and they will deal with your inquiry. I think I know a few people have got in touch with me, and it was a message I put out probably about 2 weeks ago now, actually, but it was in relation to deferral of council tax payments. This isn't an automatic service that is provided. When I first advertised it, I did think it was something that they were going to offer automatically. They've since got in touch with me to clarify on that, and it's not going to be it's not automatic. But if you are having problems paying at the moment, do email them. They will assess these on a case-by-case basis, and I know that some people who have been struggling to pay their council tax have been allowed to start their payments in June as opposed to April. So the payments aren't on hold or anything like that, but they are giving people extra time to pay. But that is decided on a case-by-case basis. So please do contact them, and they will consider your request on that one. So I hope that answers your question, Sarah, but my advice would be email me at the first instance or drop me a message on here, because it, depending on the specific nature of your request, which obviously we don't want to talk about on a public forum like this, may very well determine the course of action available. So please do email me, and I will take that forward. And another question from Greta, if I just scroll down. Oh, Greta, it's more comment actually. Thank you. You were doing an amazing job. Well, thank you so much, Greta. It's nice to see that. Nice to receive that sort of feedback, and thank you for watching. Anything I can help with, as usual, do get in touch, and I will do my best on that. Any suggestions for improvement for these sessions as well, get in touch, and I will obviously do what I can to help, because these sessions aren't about me. They're about the community. They're about keeping in touch with residents at what are very difficult times. So thanks so much for tuning in, as I said, and look forward to hearing from you. And thank you so much for your kind words, Greta. But if I go back to some of the questions that were sent in by residents in advance, this one from Pauline. Hi, George. Just a quick observation on my part. As we are in lockdown and only essential journeys are to be undertaken, I am wondering why the volume of traffic coming from Leckwith and the Mary Harrier is as heavy as it is on Leckwith Road. Last week there was very little traffic on this road, and I assume that was because visiting had been suspended at Llandough Hospital and the government's restrictions on travel. This week, the volume of traffic has increased to what I would call nearly normal for this area on a daily basis. I was just wondering if there was a reason for this. To be honest with you, Pauline, on that one, I don't know if there is a particular reason on this. Obviously, the social distancing and lockdown rules that have been in place for coming up for 3 weeks now have been in place for all that time. Nothing has changed on that. So there's no reason from my mind why there should be any more journeys on that road than there have been in previous weeks. I have contacted the council's highways department on that to see if they've got any advice or information that could perhaps shed some light on that. I'm not sure is the honest answer on that. Once I get an answer from highways on that, I will keep you all updated on that. As a more general point on this, and it is something that I've said before, please do observe the social distancing rules that are in place. They're not nice and ideal. I like getting out and about as much as anyone. It is frustrating me being stuck inside all day, if I'm being honest with you, but they are there not just for our own safety, but for the safety of others in society as well. Because if you have an underlying health condition and may be affected by this, I mean, we've seen the Prime Minister, who by all accounts leads a very much a 24/7 lifestyle, non-stop. He's been taken into intensive care on this, so it can affect anyone, and it is important that we do all we can to protect ourselves and others. So please don't go out unless it's absolutely necessary, and please make sure you observe all social distancing rules when you are out. But as I've said, I will get onto the highways department on that, and when I have an answer, I will keep everyone updated. And a question that's come in from Leslie. Leslie's question is this. A lot more people walking through Lewis Road with their dogs. Nice emoji there, Leslie, as well. Always good to put some of those into to liven the comments up a bit. And using the lane at the back of the houses. Would be nice if they could pick up their dog poo from the lane and from the field. Well, Leslie, I couldn't agree more on that. Dog fouling, it's not nice, it's not pleasant. Please think of others if you take your dogs out. Please make sure you take you take bags or other means of clearing up after your pets. As I mentioned earlier, the waste bins are provided, including on the playing fields at Lewis Road. I get this is a very, very, very small minority of dog owners. Most people are responsible and clean up after their pets. But if you are tempted, please make sure that you're not. Please do clean up after your animals. There are fines and enforcement in place for those who don't do so. It's a general plea. Please make sure that we look after our community, not just for ourselves, but for others as well. And that includes cleaning up after your pets. So I will put a more general reminder about on that point as well, Leslie. So thanks for raising that. It is important. And one thing I particularly don't like as well, which we have seen in the past in the village, is people actually picking up after their dogs and then tying the dog waste to tree branches and things like that. Don't do that either. If anything, that's worse. Please just pick it up, use a bag, put it in the bin, and that way this problem goes away. So I will urge people on that. That's the advice. If you do get caught, you will be fined. So please do clean up after your pets. And I think some of you may hear my dogs barking in the background as well. So I hope that's not them having a go at me giving that answer. But that is the that is the position on that one. And to our next question, because I realise I've been going about half an hour actually. So this one came in from Kim yesterday. Kim's question is this. Good afternoon, George. Would you like the council to deliver me a pile of food bags as I can put them on the side of my drive so that when people are out walking, they can collect the bags? I would separate them so no one else touched them. Thanks for that, Kim. And first of all, I'd just like to say what a kind offer that is. It's great to see so many people in the community thinking of others, trying to put themselves out and provide these services and ease the pressure on the council. I have checked that one out with the council, Kim, and unfortunately the answer to that request is no. The reason they've said that is they don't want to increase the risk of either unnecessary social contact or journeys. They are playing it safe on this one, and I can understand their reasons for doing that. But they have launched a new service this week, actually, with regard not just to the food waste bags, but to waste bags in general, the blue bags, the green bags, etc., and the larger containers as well. You can now go online, which I think is a good system. This is to order everything apart from the food waste bags. The food waste bags, they are keeping to the same system as they've had before, but to order either the plastic containers or the blue or the green bags, if you go onto the council's website, which is www.valeofglamorgan.gov.uk, there are now order forms and they will do a household delivery service. So that's because the recycling centres, libraries and things are closed, so you can't get those bags in the usual way. So please do go online for that. Or if you are having particular difficulties, as ever, drop me a message and I can get in touch with the relevant department on that as well. Regarding the food waste bags, and I do feel like I'm banging the same drum a bit here. It does feel a bit like deja vu because I discussed this in quite a lot of detail in the last Llandough Live. Again, the position is tie the bag to your food waste canister and they will replenish them. Last week, by and large, lots of people did so and they had their bags replaced, which is excellent. A couple of people, unfortunately, the collection crews had run out and hadn't been able to do that. So what I will say on this, at first instance, please do tie the bag to the canister. If come Tuesday evening the collection guys have been around, they've emptied your canister. I know there was one incident last week where someone didn't have their food waste emptied. I have reported that one in, but do that. If not, Tuesday evening, drop me an email. I will get onto waste management and I will get them to send some bags out to you. But the other request, and it is an important one that has come from the waste management team, and that's this. The crews are under considerable pressure at the moment. Obviously, they have a lot more people to deliver bags to than usual. So please only request food waste bags if they're absolutely necessary. If you can go an extra week without them because you have enough left, please leave it until you really are running low so that we can make sure that the bags that are with the collection teams are delivered to the people who most need them and ensure that no one ends up going without bags. And I've had a couple of questions come in so I'll try and get these answered as best I can. James Green, hi James, thanks for sending this one in. Hi George, there seems to be a continual problem with people putting their household waste in the bins around the estate recently. I am aware you got these emptied the other day, but seem to be very full again already. Unsure how it can be solved, but just seems to be a growing issue. Well, thanks for that, James. I did mention this briefly at the start of this session. I'll repeat the message again, and it was actually James who was the one who emailed me initially to highlight this. So thanks for that, James. As I've said already, if you do see anyone doing this, please either ask them politely to stop or report it in with me. But my advice would be simple: don't do it. We have got a 4-bag limit that is temporarily in place. Stick to the 2-bag limit if you can. That is something that the council have asked me to emphasise on this one, but you can, if necessary, go to four black bags. So don't, under any circumstances, use the bins that are provided in the community. These are for pedestrians, dog walkers, etc. We don't want them to be overflowing and causing the environmental and hygiene issues that causes. So please make sure with those bins that you don't resort to leaving your own household waste in them. If anyone does see any of these bins overflowing, report them into me. I will get onto waste management and I will ask that if they could make sure that they are emptied promptly, because it's not nice for our community to have this. So that's the advice on this. And a question from Pam James. Pam's question is this: do you know if the council use countrywide ground maintenance? 3 of these vans in the car park at Llandough playing fields at lunchtime. The drivers don't seem to know what social distancing is. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Pam, actually. I appreciate that people doing these jobs they are faced with difficulties and have had to adapt. It is important that the social distancing rules are followed. They're there for good reason. What I would say on your wider point, Pam, the answer is I don't know, but I will get onto the council and I will chase that one up. And if they are council employees, I will ask them to make sure that's dealt with. I would imagine they are council employees because the council have locked the entrance to the car park at the moment to stop people from using it and driving their cars and then walking around and stopping it being commandeered. So I would imagine the council had given them access to do that. So I'm not going to report this in any way of trying to nitpick, but I will just get in touch with the council's environment team. I will explain that I've had these concerns raised to me by a resident and ask that they can be feedback in. Either way, we will make sure this is taken forward. And a point from Greta again. Thanks for this, Greta. Greta's, I volunteer for Cardiff Dogs Home. Please pick up after your dog. We really need to keep up standards in this awful time. Well, Greta, couldn't agree more on that. I will re-emphasise that. Thanks so much for all you're doing with the Dogs Home as well. I remember I visited it around about 6 months ago, I think now, and it's a great service they provide there. It makes sure that any stray dogs in Cardiff or the Eastern Vale, including Llandough, are cared for and found suitable homes. So thanks for all the great work that you and your fellow volunteers are doing there, Greta. And I would simply, on this one, say this: yes, follow that advice. Please pick up after your dog. It really is not difficult, but it does make a big difference, and it prevents the horrible health hazards that dog fouling creates. So That there's not more I can say that, Greta, and all I would say is I couldn't have put that one better myself. And a question that I had in advance from Bill. Bill said this. Bill said, "Hi George, someone living close to us is using a GPS radio jammer. Timing is generally between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. Just making you aware. Is there anything that can be done?" Bill, the answer to that is I have got in touch with the police on this just to draw it to their attention. I'm not aware of how the technology surrounding all of these things works, but if it is causing any residents any disruption or concern, do let me know on this and I will chase it up. I do know your address, Bill. I won't put that one out on here for obvious reasons, but I have made the council aware, that the police, I should say, aware both that this has been taking place as an issue, and also I have drawn to their attention the specific location there. So that one has been clocked in, and I will make sure that I will make sure that you're all updated when I get a response back on that one. The other point I would make in relation to that one, and it is quite simple really, if you have been affected by that in a similar way to the issue that Bill has raised there with disruptions to your radio frequencies, do let me know and I will do my best to take it up. But that is the only inquiry I've had on those lines, and that came in from Bill. So anyone else having similar problems, let me know and I will try and take those forward. And point here from Kim as well, not sure if everyone is aware there is a box for food donations for the NHS on the village green near the church, in case anyone is interested in donating food. Thanks for that, Kim. I will reaffirm that if you like. Please do donate and help out if you can. Our NHS workers and staff are doing an amazing job in really, really challenging circumstances. They're putting their own health and safety at risk to look after us. The least we can do is try and give something back to them and show us our support. And I'm sure that once again, come 8 o'clock this evening, everyone will be out showing our appreciation with that applause. So please do join in. And one thing I did see either last week or the week before, resident Muriel in Llandough is an opera singer with WNO, and she did a fantastic rendition that she posted on the Llandough Old and New residents group. Great to see things like this happening as well. So please show your appreciation at 8 o'clock for our hardworking health service teams. They are doing an incredible job, and any help and support that we can give them, we really must do. So thank you for that, Kim, and yes, please do support that. And Kim added on to that, actually, also Sue Sugarman is collecting pyjamas, dressing gowns, joggers, leggings, t-shirts and toiletries, as Llandough Hospital is in desperate need for the patients as they don't have visitors. Yes, completely agree with that one, Kim. Any help anyone can give, there will be a way of providing it. The COVID-19 mutual aid group, Julia and Joe and everyone on there doing a fantastic job. They will have good tips for how you can get involved. Alternatively, get in touch with me and I will see and I will point you in the right direction as well. But any help you can give, please do come forward with it. And those schemes that Kim has highlighted, please do show them your support as well, because they really are fantastic. And it's great to see the community spirit and the selflessness and dedication and help we've seen from so many people in our community. Actually, it's been fantastic to see, quite heartwarming actually, and it really does mean a lot. So everyone, thank you so much for all that you're doing on that. Now, the final question that was sent in to me came from Godwin, came through this afternoon. Godwin says this, he says, I've read a couple of news features about cars being stolen and just wondered if the community police are patrolling Llandough. I know they are quite busy during this time, but just wondered. Well, yes, the police are working incredibly hard. I'm not aware of any car thefts that have taken place recently, Godwin. Anyone, if you have heard of them, do get in touch with me about that. So please correct me if I'm wrong on that. It's important that we do look after the security of the neighbourhood. One thing I will say, Lauren Mallins, who is our police and community support officer in Llandough, she does a terrific job for the community. She really does go out. Often when I've had issues in the past and asked her if she can do a spot check, she has gone out of her way to follow those up. The one point I would make on this, though, Lauren does cover a larger area than just Llandough, so she does have to spread herself out a bit. Anyone with any particular issues on this, do let me know, because I will draw them to Lauren's attention, and if necessary, I will draw them to Chief Inspector Rice's Tony Williams is in attention as well, because he covers the larger area. Between us, I do have a number of different contacts at the police, but I will raise that with them and ask that they can take those forward. Now, appreciate we've been going for about 45 minutes actually, so time does really fly when you're having fun doing these things. But I will just go through the other announcements I had in case I missed any. I think I've gone through most of them. The only one, it did come in as a question from Councillor Pam Gay earlier, but I will repeat it as well. Waste collections over the Easter weekend, they are operating as normal this year. So Good Friday and Easter Monday, no changes to collections there, which means that we don't have a knock-on effect for our Tuesday collection in Llandough. So on Tuesday, it will be the black bag collections, mixed recycling and food waste, with garden waste resuming the following week. Well, unless anyone has any further questions, I think that probably is a good way to end it. Before I finish, I would just like to take this opportunity to wish everyone a very happy Easter. It's not the way any of us would have expected or imagined to spend our bank holiday weekend. It's not nice that we can't spend it with friends and family, but I would simply say, please do resist temptation. The weather, I know, is going to be nice, which isn't ideal, but other than your daily walk and using your gardens, obviously, if you're fortunate enough to have them, please don't be tempted to go out this weekend unnecessarily. These lockdowns and this lockdown and the social distancing advice is in place for very good reason. As I've said, I don't particularly like it, but it is necessary, and we have to abide by it, because it's the only way that we will beat this virus and beat it quickly. So please don't be tempted to go out this week. Please do keep following the social distancing guidance as we have been so far. I know it's a small minority of people who have been flouting it. I think they have got, if I'm being honest, perhaps disproportionate coverage to the vast majority of people who are observing these rules properly, but don't make yourself one of them. Please do follow this. Have a very good Easter, everyone, as well. Anything I can help with, as usual, over the Easter weekend, I will be available, so please do get in touch. My email address is george.carroll@valeconservatives.org.uk. You can ring me on 07889 384059, or drop me a message on here. So thank you so much. Have a good Easter all. And just one other thing before I go. I know that Reverend Rose Hill from the parish of Llandough and Penarth has been doing Easter services via Facebook Live, a bit like I've been doing these sessions. Please do tune in, because you can't go to St. Doc Dewey's over the Easter break for obvious reasons. Other than that, have a great Easter. Have a great Easter to you too, Tracy. Just seeing your comment come through there. And I will catch up with you all very soon. Stay safe all.